بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate,
والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد.
salutations upon Prophet Muhammad, blessings of God upon him and his progeny,
وعلى آله الأطيبين الأطهرين المنتجبين.
salutations to the infallible Imams,
الهداة المهديين المعصومين المكرمين، سيما بقية الله في الأرضين. اولا به همه حضار محترم، برادران عزیز، خواهران عزیز که در این محفل باشکوه
I wish to welcome all the dear brothers and sisters who have participated in this. I wish to greet all the dear brothers and sisters who have participated in this glorious ceremony. I had missed, and we had missed the late Imam and this ceremony that commemorates the late Imam every year.
خدا رو شکر میکنیم که امسال مجدداً این جلسه، این محفل گرم و پرمعنا
We thank God
تشکیل شد.
that this ceremony is being held this year.
روح جمهوری اسلامی است.
The great Imam is the spirit of the Islamic Republic.
از جمهوری اسلامی گرفته بشود،
If this spirit is separated from the Islamic Republic, or if no attention is paid to such a spirit,
باقی خواهد ماند. بحث امروز من درباره ابعادی از شخصیت امام عزیز و بزرگوار ماست.
Today I want to delineate on the aspects of the personality of the late Imam. Of course, in
تعدادی از سالهای گذشته
previous years,
درباره ابعادی از شخصیت امام صحبت شده است.
we have discussed about the aspects of Imam's personality.
لکن با وجود این ناگفته ها هنوز بسیار است.
Despite this, there are many untold things.
هرچه گویم عشق را شرح و بیان، چون به عشقایم خجل باشم از آن.
And when one speaks of such a love, words may fail to describe it. There are many aspects of Imam's personality that have remained unknown. The current generation of the revolution, I mean particularly our younger generation, have not properly realized the grandeur of the late Imam, and they compare him to a humble person like me, but there is astronomical distance and a difference. In other words, Imam was an exceptional personality in its true sense.
شناسایی امام برای نسل جوان از این جهت اهمیت دارد.
It's important for the young generation to better understand the personality of the Imam, because it will be helpful for them to run the affairs of the country in the future in an optimal manner. Imam is not just the Imam of the yesterday, and is also the Imam of today and tomorrow. Our young and smart generation that shoulders the responsibility of the second phase of the revolution and has to run the affairs of the country in the future is in need of a true software in order to be able to properly tread the path of the revolution so that it would just bring the nation to the peak of perfection. In order to realize this goal, there's a need for a software, a comprehensive and a reliable software that would be the younger generation. Such a software can be helpful, can have an accelerating role, and in some cases it can bring about developments. And these are the lessons that one can search and learn from the late Imam. The first point that should be mentioned regarding the Imam is the leadership of the biggest revolution in the history of revolutions. And I will explain more about such a leadership later on. Why do we describe this revolution as the biggest revolution in the history of revolutions? There have been minor and major revolutions that you can see in the course of history. The French Revolution has been one of the most famous ones in the 18th century, 1789, and also the Soviet Revolution in 1917 in the 20th century. So these two revolutions are the most well-known revolutions when you consider and examine the history of revolutions. But the Islamic Revolution is a bigger one, is a more prominent one, and there are many reasons for that. I want to mention a fundamental issue, and that is these two revolutions, namely the French and Soviet revolutions, they both emerged victorious by the people, and the people contributed to their triumph. But after the triumph of the revolution, the people had no longer had any role to play, and the people were just put aside, and the people actually failed to participate in a revolution that they had contributed to its triumph through their presence. So the people failed to further participate in those revolutions. What was the outcome? The outcome was that these two revolutions were quickly diverted from their popular path, the French Revolution. After 12 or 13 years, a revolution that was against monarchy, a revolution that took shape against monarchy. After 12 or 13 years, France became a monarchic state again, and Napoleon came to power, and he was put on the throne, and the monarchy returned to that country. The late Imam, may God bless his soul, was the leader of such a revolution, or such a movement that led to this revolution. So, what do we mean by the leader of a movement? This is the point that clarifies the glory and grandeur of this issue. Of course, the people contributed to the victory of the revolution, and there is no doubt about it. If the people were not present, and if the people if the people had not actually sacrificed their lives, if they had not dedicated martyrs, the revolution would not have been come to the point of triumph. But the powerful hand that managed to actually realize this goal, who was this powerful hand that contributed to the realization of this goal? This is the point that matters. That powerful hand, that strong and steadfast personality, and the strong and steadfast personality that managed to actually bring together people from different strata of the society and keep them present on the scene, and actually prevent any feeling of frustration and show them the right direction. That was that powerful hand, namely the late Imam Khomeini. We do not bully, and we will not give in to the act of bullying. We reinforce the country's economy and science, and we reinforce the country's defense. We do not just think about the economy. We also take into account the importance of defense and security. We should observe national unity, and also we should also recognize political diversities. There's a need for virtue for the officials, and they should, while being virtuous, the officials must also have specialties and must be experts. These are the dualities that some, prior to the revolution or at the time of the revolution, they wanted to create an opposite situation, making these dualities face one another, but the Imam managed to bring them in coordination with one another. So these are the features of Imam's school. You may ask, the school that was designed by Imam, to what extent was such a school realized at the time of the Imam? This is an important question. World people may also ask us about this. I am fully informed about this, and I know the realities of the country. I can tell you that we have had major breakthroughs in all these cases. And if one ignores these successes, he's been an unfair person. That includes popular rule, scientific progress, the field of diplomacy, the country's situation in the world, the field of economy, public services. We have had major breakthroughs, and at the same time we have had shortcomings. We had made progress, and at the same time we have had shortcomings. Imam has wisely provided us with guidelines, and in the last year of his life, addressing the children of martyrs, he said that in fact the outcome of your efforts is contingent upon the outcome of your work is contingent upon your efforts. As you make more efforts, that will bear more fruits. He added that living in this world today is like living is actually subject to one's will. This means that when the officials and the people come to the arena with a strong will, there will be success. But if there's a shaky will, if there's less efforts, that will bring about shortcomings and backwardness. We have both backwardness and progress. The officials and the effective elements in the society, they have acted positively, and that brought about success, and in some cases they were lazy, and that brought about some backwardness. This is something that cannot be ignored. The roadmap is right. The path is clear and right. One who is treading this path must act properly. So, in case of making efforts, one will emerge victorious. And we have seen such cases, and of course one should not overlook the enmity and hostility by the enemies. Since the triumph of the revolution, the enemies started their activities. Some think that we have forced them to become hostile. No, this in fact, the Islamic Republic opposes tyranny, and that causes that hostility by the enemies. You're saying that you oppose tyranny and hegemony. Any tyrant, any government that is tyrannical will become your enemy. This is the nature of the Islamic Republic. We believe in spirituality. Those who oppose people's spirituality will become your enemies, and they will oppose you. The Islamic Republic says that it opposes vices. Those who have become accustomed to vices and go after vices, and they cannot separate from vices, they will naturally oppose the Islamic Republic. That's something natural. That is the enemy's front. And there have been different types of hostilities. The Americans sent their general to Tehran for a coup, and the coup failed. And that general failed, and in many other issues, the Americans and the enemies failed. So the Imam distanced himself from the West that created enemies, and he did not allow the Westerners to interfere.
دفتر فلسطین را که غاصب است از او گرفتن دادن به فلسطینی‌ها که مالک فلسطینن. خب این طبعاً دشمنی
the Palestinians, the embassy was handed over to the Palestinians as the real owners of Palestine. I draw the attention of the youths to this point, that the Westerners plundered the world for 3 centuries. From East Asia, Indonesia, the Philippines, Nepal, the Indian subcontinent, to Central Asia and West Asia and North Africa, the Maghreb of Africa, and also the whole Black Africa. For 3 centuries they were all looted by the Westerners, and they also later started to plunder South America, and the American continent had owners, civilizations, and nations. Through deception, they were plundered, and they have been registered by history. By reading historical books, you can better realize these realities. And they created catastrophes. There were mass murders, acts of plunder, pressure, slavery, keeping slaves, and these are the things done by the Westerners. And during these 3 centuries, their intellectuals discovered the laws of human rights for the world. So you see, this is a contradiction in words and deeds. This is a hypocrisy by the Westerners. And you see the hypocrisy in their words and deeds. The European states and later America, the European states and the later America, they committed crimes. These are the masterpieces of the Western civilization.